I heard His Honor tell you all how important it is to be a juror. I've heard judges over the years say that being a juror in a criminal case, except for a soldier during time of war, is the most important job an American citizen can give to their country. I believe that, and because of that, I believe that when people leave their homes and come down here to sit around and serve, they come here to do the best they have to, give the best of themselves that they have. Will all of you here today, if you're on the jury, give it the best you have as an American citizen to make our system work? Will you? In this case, you're going to hear evidence. We're lucky. Any of you ever heard the old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words? You're going to get to see Bart Conover. And I ask you to play this and play this and play this and play this and ask yourself, does this picture support what the officer is saying? And I'm going to ask you all to view this, him doing these tests out in the rain, being accused of a crime, and ask yourself, am I firmly convinced of the truth? Would I rely on this in conducting the most important of my own personal affairs? And drops his foot, and immediately 4 people come walking right behind him. And the whole time he's doing these tests, people are walking behind the camera, in front of the camera, beside him. There are distractions. The overhead lights of the first officer to testify are going around. You'll see the light on the buildings. It's not a fair test, and you'll see how well he did. But the officer said he failed that test. You're going to hear the testimony of a police sergeant who's been around a long time and knows how to write a report on someone who he smelled alcohol on. You're an expert on this so-called horizontal gaze nystagmus test, right?
The person has knowledge of it, yes.
Okay. And you're authorized to testify about it, right?
Yes.
Now tell us, some human beings have that nystagmus naturally, don't they?
Some people do.
And you're not qualified to look into my client's eyes and give him a test to determine whether or not he comes by that nystagmus naturally, are you?
I'm not an optometrist, ophthalmologist, or anything.
No, sir.
No.
Are you qualified?
I'm not qualified to.
The other things you look to see is whether or not they start the test before the officer's done giving instructions. Is that true?
That's true.
I wrote normal up here for the moving the feet. Bart didn't start too early, did he?
No, he did not.
That's one of the things you're looking for to determine whether a person is impaired, isn't it, sir? It's one of the factors, right? Starts before instructions completed.
I said yes.
He did that normally too, didn't he?
He waited till he was told to start.
Normal, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
I didn't hear.
Yes, he didn't start until he was told to begin.
Okay. Now, one of the other things you look for on this test is to see, does he stop while walking to steady himself? He didn't stop, did he?
I didn't see him stop.
He did that normally, didn't he?
Mr. DeBacco, you may close on behalf of the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the jury, we've been here all day, a long time. Snowing outside, and this is just another lawyer's speech. I'm not going to talk long. Look at the evidence. You all said that you'd cloak him with the presumption of innocence, and that he didn't have to prove that he's innocent. The entire burden would be on the government, and they would have to prove to you to such a degree that you no longer have a reasonable doubt of any kind. Because if you have a reasonable doubt, in America, there's only one proper verdict, and that's not guilty. Couldn't even get the guy to tell me whether he did one of these things in a normal fashion because he saw where I was going. I couldn't even get him to answer yes or no. Mr. Ruffing didn't have that problem when he asked his witnesses questions. They gave him everything he wanted, how he wanted it, because they know what side their bread is buttered. When you're sitting back and asking, that day I served jury, did I follow my oath? Did I look to see whether I'm firmly convinced? Did the government prove to me, to a point that I am firmly convinced of the truth of the charge, that that man was impaired, that he was intoxicated? When you go back there, you will have a verdict form. The word verdict comes from a Latin word, means verdictu, means to speak the truth. Your verdict must speak the truth that the government has excluded any reasonable doubt, that the government has proven to you to such a point that you are firmly convinced that Bart was under the influence.
We, the jury in this case, find the defendant, Bart J. Conover, not guilty of operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol